All right, for the Cisco stuff, you're going to go to netacad.com. netacad.com. And you're going to get a screen that looks like that. Up there in the top where the pointer is pointing at. So everybody see what I'm talking about? Says login. You're going to log in from there. Now, warning, this is a Cisco site. Cisco changes it occasionally. So the login spot on the screen could change because they change the pictures and their links and stuff on the page occasionally, and it does move around once in a while. Okay, so I'm telling you it's there now. It's been there for probably just about the whole semester. Anybody in Cisco in here? Who's in Cisco? The three of y'all can tell the rest of them. It has changed along the way, right? It's been pretty constant for about 7 or 8 weeks, but if I tell you this morning this is the way to do it, y'all are going to get home this afternoon and they're going to have redesigned that page and move login over here to the bottom right or something else. So just be aware on that. Use the login that they gave you. You got an email with the login information from Cisco. It gave your password and your username.
Still email?
It came in an email. I can send it to you again in just a minute, as soon as I get in here. I got to remember my password for this because it's a different password. And then if I try to go to the regular Cisco site, it's a whole nother one and a different username, and they've been after me for a week on that one, which is confusing me completely. All right, when you come in here, you're going to be on the I'm Learning tab, which looks the same as the I'm Teaching, okay? But it's going to should land you in I'm Learning, because y'all aren't teachers out there. It lands me and I'm Teaching. I got to go into I'm Teaching because that's where the class is, okay? Your class is going to show under I'm Learning, but the stuff looks the same. If you notice here, it's big tabs sitting across here. Everybody got that? So if you notice, I'm taking several different classes right here. Actually, I'm taking this I'm taking that one, and that's the only thing I think I'm taking right now. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm taking. This Global IPD week, they actually sent me my certificate for that this weekend because that was back at the beginning of March. I got to go through it again in June. It's where they update the instructors every 3 months on what's happening out there at Cisco and different new things that they got to offer and stuff. Cyber Essentials is actually a free course that y'all can take out there also. There is a bunch of free courses y'all can take at Cisco. I'll come back to those in a few minutes, but let's look at what's in the course you are taking. But the fact I have enrolled you at the Cisco Academy makes a number of other courses available to you for free, and you do get certificates for completing them from Cisco. No record here at the school or anything, but for this one it is. So 11/22 spring 2017 is the class that y'all are taking for this class. The 3 of y'all that are taking my other class I've got on your, so for most of you, you're only going to have 1 class showing there. Those 3 people are going to have 2 classes showing out there for themselves. Okay, so I'm going to click into it, or I could have clicked launch course either way. As long as I click in that box, I'm going to get this screen here. Modules is where the material is. That's the text. So everybody got that? So where in test out it takes you through the stuff, that's modules here, okay? Assignments is where the tests are all located. And you have no other stuff, but I'll show you that in a second. Grades, if you want to go look at your grades, you can look at your grades there. Okay, that you get out there in Cisco. People, I think it actually lists who's in the class, but I'm not sure what it showed you there. Pages actually gives you the same thing modules does. Files has nothing, syllabus has nothing. Quizzes has some practice little tests you can take right there. I think I really haven't looked in this class on it. And the rest of the stuff we're not going to use, and you don't have instructor home. If you got instructor home, something is set up wrong. So I guess it just says instructor home there and you don't get my check. So if I go to modules, it will actually, launch course will take me to the same place. Actually, launch course I think takes you to the first one, but this will take you where you can go, where it says launch in the chapters, that there it is giving you the material in that chapter. Only bad part about this whole thing is it doesn't tell you what each chapter's about right here. It just says it's chapter 1, 2, whatever. Look in Blackboard. I told you which chapters you should be looking over. Because remember, this is a complete A+ course sitting here. Okay? Does everybody follow with me? So part of it doesn't apply to this class. And I realize that when you do the final in this thing here too, some of it you won't have had. But it still gives you a good little practice and some other stuff. This stuff is going to be more up to date than the test out stuff. Okay, and Cisco just updated this course just a few months ago. And theirs is up to date. So there's like 14 chapters or something. Gee, I got that one right. 14 chapters out there. I don't think I've activated the exams, but if I haven't, I'll activate them. I don't remember if I did or not. We'll see in a second if I did. I know I did activate the things you got to do. Okay? Now, things that you have to do, if you will go to assignments, you can get direct to them. Now, you can get some of the stuff down through here, but assignments to me is the easier way to do it. Although that's not to say that it's the only way to do it. And click on Chapter 1 exam, and I'll see if it's active or not. And it is active. Okay, so I did activate the test. Now in your case, when you click on the exam name there under assignments, instead of taking me where I just went, it will take you into the exam. Does everybody follow on that? It takes me into where I have to activate it. If by chance you go to take something and it says it's not been activated, and y'all can take the other test also, that's on the 1135 class if you want, just send me a note and tell me and I will activate it. Okay? I'll look again in a minute, but my intentions is that this course is available for you through the end of May anyway. But the final exam's got to be done by May 2nd. Does everybody follow on that? But you can come back and go back through stuff later on. So there's the test. You can do those if you want. I'm not counting those in your grade. That's purely for you. So you decide if you want to do certain things. There's a practice final exam right there that is active. It is like the real final exam, not exact same questions, but it's similar questions, similar thing. Doesn't count. You can do that if you want. You can do it as many times as you want. The chapter exams the same way. You can do them as many times as you want. Does everybody follow on that? So, because they're all practice stuff for y'all's purpose. Normally people that would be taking this class, that wouldn't be the case, but it depends on the instructor. Next one, final exam. That's the key for you in this class. That's what you have to do. Okay? And you've only got one shot on it. Okay? So give it your best effort. Let's see what you do know. Okay? Everybody follow on that? Take that by May the 2nd. So y'all can put that off until the final exam period when you've got the test out final exam. Also from April the 29th through the 2nd. Just make sure you take it by the 2nd. Everybody got me? In addition to that, says here, hands-on skills exam. You're going to get a grade in there because you're already going to do that. Next week, you're doing that hands-on skills exam anyway. I've already told you all semester you're going to do it. What's your hands-on skills exam? It's taking the machines apart like Todd said and putting them all back together by yourself back there, okay? But some of you are going to do them next Monday, some of you are going to do them Wednesday.
Will we reinstall the operating system too, or just?
When you do the one that's online, you do have to install the operating system, I think, on the slow exam. But the one here, no, you're not going to install the operating system. It's just, we need to get it come back on.
Yeah, time consuming.
Okay?
The 2 time consuming also.
Well, the other part is, this is the hardware course, this isn't the operating system course. Okay? So that should be covered in 1135, not in here, because this class is teaching you the hardware, that class is teaching you the operating system. So installing the operating system to me is operating system. But I may be a little weird. Okay? On my thinking. I'm not going to deny that. So if you do that exam back there, you're going to and successfully take it apart and put it back together, which Todd's going to do correctly, right? That you're going to get 100 here and you're going to get 100 in test outs. Everybody follow on that? This one, I'm not going to be transferring that grade from there to Blackboard because I'm transferring it from test out. But it's the same grade, but for me to mark you as having taken this class for Cisco, you have to do this final exam, you have to do this hands-on skill final. As long as y'all get through those, that Cisco will give you a certificate of completion. And I will send those to you. Now, I'm behind on those, I know right now. Because yes, I know those of you that are in the Cisco class, y'all have not received your packet tracer certificate from me, although I think y'all can actually go out and get it in your account. Any one of the three of you tried that? So I think somebody in that class has done that. That's normally where they're sitting also, but I am going to send them to you. I don't think I've gotten them done from last semester to the classes last semester. The other part is those 3 people, if they pass that class, will get a certificate of completion for Cisco 1. Just like in here, y'all will get a certificate of completion for IT Essentials then. And it's a nice looking little certificate. Okay? Does everybody follow on that? It's got a spot on there for me to sign on it, so if you print it out and you want to get me to sign it, you can bring it to me and I will sign it. Okay? Or if you want to just print my name in there, you can, whatever. But I will be glad to sign them if you print them out. Okay? But they're PDF forms sent from Cisco, so for me to go in and put my signature into it gets too complicated on it. So I just send you the one like that. I've got some of them to where I've written in there where I took them online. It comes to me the same way, and I just type on, I write online in there and stick it in my book of stuff. All right, so everybody follow on that? There's a third item you have to do, but Cisco will make you do it anyway. They didn't used to, and that gave a problem. But you have to do this course feedback down here. However, that's not a big problem for any of you on this class or the other Cisco class. But when you go to do this final exam right here, if you have not done this, the very first thing it will do is take you through this and then take you into the final exam. Everybody follow on that? So it won't let you go through the final exam without having done this. But you've got to do both of those. Does everybody follow? People taking Cisco, just as a reminder to you, if you don't do those 3 items, you can't pass that class. This class, it just means you won't get your grade over there, okay? From this as one of your grades. Everybody got that? Did you find yourself on there, your information or not, Todd?
No.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Then, let me do this. If I go to settings, no, it's not settings. If I go to instructor home, it's not there either. Where is it? Got users in here somewhere, and where my users go to? Course details. What do I got as the ending? Well, I'm going to fix this ending date.
Oh, I got it. It was in my spam junk email.
Okay, that happens sometimes. Y'all got to watch your spam. I'm going to change this end date to the end of May. And if any of y'all want to be able to still access this information after the end of May, let me know before the end of May and I can extend the data on out. Why didn't let me update the information? Well, it says it updated it, but why is it not letting me change this? Oops, that's changeable. That's not changeable. Why is it blocking me on everything? Those are changeable items because I change them occasionally on places. I don't know why it's... time zone, it's letting me change, but it's... guess I'll have to change it later, but it's not letting me into where I'm supposed to be right here anyway. Because that's just details. But actually, if I go to there normally, in the classes, like where Todd hadn't gotten that email, I can click and tell it to resend y'all's logon information. I don't know what the problem is with this thing right at the moment. I'll have to try it again later. All right, any questions on all of that? Does everybody follow what I want y'all doing in there? What I want, the big part is, really would like y'all to look at the information out there, because there's, like I say, they've got sometimes more current information. We've pointed out all semester on test out that there's been a number of places where we've said it's not been current, okay? And they've told you about XP or act like Vista was the latest and greatest thing, okay? And haven't really told us anything about 10, and that several other things on it. This one is more current on it. The other part you've got right here, and I skipped over this, on assignments. And if you're going to take the A+ exam, this is the handy part. Is that they've got 2 practice exams down here for you. And I don't think, and I've got to activate it and it doesn't come up for me. So you've got 2 practice exams included in here for you. Okay? Does everybody follow? Test Out's got a practice exam for you also, if you'll look at the end. Test Out also has their PC Pro certification, practice exam, and certification exam at the end of your Test Out stuff there. The Test Out PC Pro certification is free for you to take. One try. It's $45, I think, to get additional vouchers for it from them. Okay? So you've got a free certification exam there. Now, agreed on it that it's not a well-known exam. Okay? But it is a certification. Test Out would like you to think that it's equal to and considered equally with A+, but it really isn't, okay? And there's a lot of places aren't going to know what it is. But it is a certification, And for a lot of places, just the fact you've got a certification is what they're looking for, not what certification or anything else. And then there's plenty of other places that go, certification, what's that mean? Okay? So, but it is one there. My intentions is I am going to try the thing this semester also. Okay? And see how I do on it. I know some students in the past have passed it. Now, the other part is you're just wanting to do the part that corresponds to this course. You're not wanting to do the whole thing because you haven't done the 1135, or most of you haven't. I don't think anybody in here has done 1135. Has anybody done 1135? All right, Isaiah can do the whole thing because he'll have finished everything applies to A+. The rest of you have only done one course of it. Although that doesn't mean that you're not maybe capable of passing the whole thing. Some of you, actually I'll change that, most of you didn't read the assignment sheets in this class and have done a whole lot more assignments than what you were assigned. Okay? Because if you notice in the Blackboard grade book, there's not all of the grades have not been transferred over. The only grades I've transferred over are the things you were supposed to do in here. Those other items that you have done extra actually go with 1135. And when you get to that class, you've already done assignments for that class. But in each chapter, we had a sheet that said what you were supposed to do. All right, any questions on Cisco?
I'm gonna need that email sent again.
You're going to need it sent again? So you didn't have the...
I had it, but I went on and said this was not it was not spam, and then I said it wanted me to report it, and so when I reported it or something like that, it deleted it, it disappeared.
It's not in the inbox?
Not in my inbox.
And that's a weird... I saw that message the other day, and I just ignored the message on that. That's the library. Somebody's stealing a book.
Oh, I got it right here. I found it.
Okay. And if anyone else doesn't have the message about how to log on to it, just send me a note, and when I can get into this thing successfully, I'll have it sent to you. Normally, when I click on where I was just at with y'all, the list appears there, and it's got a little box for me to just check to resend. Actually, it will also tell me if you have logged on to the site or not, and when you last logged on to it. However, it doesn't give me a history on you. I haven't found where the history is. Where Blackboard, I can actually find a history on you and know when all you have logged on. All right, let's go back to test out. Let's go to our class. And I just went to the grade book, which was not what I wanted. Not what I wanted either. Test Out to me is not the most friendly site there. Because to find the curriculum, it's weird, and to find anything, every time I try to find something, I have to go through a couple of times. All right. Chapter 8 and 10 is all we've got left. I've got to build the machines next week, and then the notebook laptops. I'm going to have y'all take them apart and put them together Wednesday. So here we're on mobile devices for chapter 8. We're only doing 1, 2, and 4 units. That's all that was described to you to do. So they got several things to teach you right there. They go through and give us some facts about notebooks and other portable devices, and they're really using notebook. And a larger term here. Supposed to be lighter, easier to carry. Let's go back in history to when the first laptops came out. They didn't fit either one of those definitions. They did have handles on them, but that was the extent of easier to carry. Run on battery power, designed better to work with the battery, although you can run them on just plugged in, which is what I do a lot of times. Designed to be carried around, designed to withstand more wear and tear. Now, following classifications they've got here, and then they don't even give you everything. So they got notebook or a laptop. And so they're defining notebooks as being the same as laptops. Most of the time you're going to see laptops as larger mobile devices and notebooks as the smaller ones. Okay? The tablet PC you'll often see be configured in being the same as with notebooks. Touch screen, which your laptops are all doing now with the touch screen. And then it says that they use a stylus or input on them and such. You've got the Android devices for that and such out there now. They're Google tablets and such. PDA, handheld, small screen, smartphone, y'all all know what those are. And so they said the difference between a PDA and a smartphone is disappearing, which is pretty true. And then netbooks is a smaller form one that really doesn't have much storage on it or whatever. It's designed to work purely connected on it. And that they said they use special operating system, not support all features of the original, and so on. Typically do not have integrated CD, DVD drives. However, if you go back up here to the top on the laptops, those have disappeared off the laptop too. Because if you go buy a new laptop today, it's probably not going to have a CD, DVD drive on it anymore. Processors are going to be similar. They do power down and such. They don't have the large heat sinks that you're used to back here, but they're going to control their heat by minimizing power consumption, and they got small fans in there. Memory, they're going to use half-length memory modules generally, and we'll see that when you take machines apart. Keyboard, it's just a built-in keyboard on it, although you could use an external one. Pointing devices, you've got the little tab, the little pad there for it on most of them, using the touch pad. Use an external mouse, which a lot of people end up doing still. And then if you go back to the IBM ones, you had a little stick in the middle of the keyboard that you could move everything around with. And video, that has improved tremendously over the years so that you're getting comparable on the laptops to the other, although you can plug to the other one on it. Networking, they've got full capabilities on that. The internal hard drives are going to be 2.5-inch drives, as opposed to on your desktops you're usually using 3.5s. And that you've got variety on those. You could have a docking station. A docking station's where you've got a built-in port to just put your laptop into, and it'll connect to your hard drive that you've got otherwise and to your external monitor and keyboard. And that you'll find businesses sometimes use docking stations that issue laptops to their employees, and they have docking stations on their desk for them, so that then it works like a desktop for them when they're at work, or they get to use it as a laptop. Most everything else is the same back to your desktop, so sort of skip over that part. They do have special function keys showing on them, which they go through and show you a few of those right here that you normally don't have on your keyboard for your desktops, that you can turn wireless on and off on the laptop or your mobile devices, right on down to your phone, because you can turn it off on there too. Bluetooth can be used on when turned on and off. GPS may well be on there. Airplane mode, where it works correctly for if you're it while you're on an airplane flight so that it's not transmitting stuff out that could interfere with the airplane stuff, although they're now doubting any of it ever interferes with that. Except now they're not going to let you take your laptop on some airplanes anymore because now the terrorists have figured out supposedly how to put bombs into the batteries on your laptop. So if you try to fly to certain countries in the Mideast now, you can't take your laptop on the plane with you. You can check it as luggage, but you can't take it into the passenger compartment on it. Right now, they still haven't done that to any other flights except for to a couple of countries over in the Mideast. Hopefully, they won't put that rule in effect for flights to France until after I go to France in July. Although I don't use the laptop in the plane, but I'd rather keep my laptop with me. Touchpad, I mentioned, it can be turned off and on. You can actually change your screen orientation on some of them. Screen brightness is on the keyboard for you because it's not on the screen. So they got buttons for that. Keyboard backlight, I've never seen that one. Although I'm sure it's on some. And then volume settings are on the same place. And that you've got some settings for controlling your CDs, DVDs. All right, that's just put the test thing on it. And they go through and show you how to change various components and do things in there. Hard drives on most of them are really simple to replace. That there's an opening on the back of the laptop that will open up to your hard drive. Now, I haven't looked at the ones y'all are going to work on in here, but I think that's what's on them, but we'll look at them and see Wednesday. However, I'm seeing a few laptops out there now, including the one I bought for my own home usage, that doesn't have an opening in the back of it for you to change the hard drive out with. That you got to take the whole case apart to do it, which was a disappointment when I bought it because my intention was I was going to take my hard drive out of my other machine that was a bigger hard drive than in the new one. And I didn't feel like taking the whole thing apart. So those are usually fairly simple, except I say there's a couple of them for some reason decide to do different. Memory, the same case on most of them. It's just a slot in the back that you open up and there's the memory cards. And you just pull them in and out and you really aren't opening up the whole thing. My machine's got a solid back on it. You have to take the whole back off to be able to change anything. Not the way I was looking for. The keyboards can be replaced in there, except that gets a little bit more complicated, but that's opening the whole thing up and then you can actually switch the keyboards out. The thing is with the laptops, as cheap as they have gotten now, in a lot of cases replacing some of these things, it's just as cheap to just go buy a new laptop, unless you've got a high-end one there. So the wireless network card may be a separate card in there, but quite often is integrated into the motherboard, and so you've got to do some soldering and switching out if you're going to switch that out on it. That most of them I have seen is in the motherboard. Changing the processor, you're not going to do that one much at all in terms of it, because it gets too complicated in there, and the cost of doing it would be more than go get yourself a new machine. Batteries could be a variety of type ones on it. The batteries will wear out on you, so you do have to replace the batteries occasionally. Not very often, but just like on your phone, that you may have to replace your battery once in a while on them too. The batteries can fail. The only phone I've ended up replacing a battery on was a BlackBerry, and it had been, somebody had it sitting around stored for a good while before they sold it to me. And then the battery went bad, started going bad, and I replaced it. So you've got a variety of batteries there that are available to you that you could be using. Let's see, what have we got next? Ooh, and that's not even the unit we're covering, is 8.3 is not part of what's on y'all's stuff in this class. So we don't have to worry about power. Notebook troubleshooting. So if y'all ended up doing a couple extra assignments, I understand on it, that if we don't always pay attention as we're flipping along there, and we end up doing more than what we needed to do. So I told you we're doing 1, 2, and 4, and then we went right on into 3, but none of y'all said, whoa, you're on 3. That's not in the class. So then they talk about battery recalibration. That can get the battery, if the battery meter is not reading correctly for you. They mention a few things on that. One is that their suggestion is charge the battery completely and then run it down fully, which also will take care of shadow effects in batteries too. So they talk on that one. You can run them from AC power or from battery power. I had a laptop a while back that the battery went bad on, and when I thought about it, I never use it on the battery anyway, hardly ever. So I just kept right on going, that it worked fine as long as it was plugged in the wall, and normally I plugged in the wall anyway. You're going to get faster stuff on your laptop plugged in the wall than running through the battery, because it does run a little bit stronger on the regular electric power. If your laptop has no display, their suggestion is, 1, make sure you do have it set correctly, because on the laptop it's easy to change on how you've got the thing set going to a projector or not, and you could have hit the function key that changed it without meaning to. Make sure that the LCD is really working. It says watch out for cracks. You are going to have dead spots in your display, and that's actually going to apply not just to your laptop, but to any of your monitors, that there's always dead pixels from time of manufacture. The only thing is you don't want too many of them to grow on it, or it goes bad on it. There's a backlight on all of these monitors, and if that backlight goes bad, then it's got to be replaced or whatever. Again, a lot of times it's cheaper to go buy yourself a new monitor. I know that's not what you're used to hearing, but if it's a bad keyboard on there, one way to test on that to figure out if your keyboard's actually gone bad, that it's acting up, is plug an external keyboard into your machine. Just get a USB one, plug it in, and see if it works. And then you know it's not the keyboard application, but it's actually your keyboard itself has gone bad. If you're not wanting another one yet, and you don't want to try to take it apart and replace it or on it, obvious thing to do is just carry a separate keyboard with you and use a separate keyboard on the machine. And that's it for 8. Any questions on chapter 8? If y'all don't ask questions, I don't know you have questions. All right, let's go to 10. And I'm trying to remember how to jump to 10. There we go. Okay, 10. And all we've got is 10.1 to do here. I don't know why we've got just one unit, but that's what they did. Component selection. So all they're doing here in 10.1 is, if you're buying a new machine, what are the components you want for it? If it's a graphics or a CAD CAM machine, their suggestion is get the most powerful processor you can. Also, you want a high-end video adapter. If you don't have that high-end video adapter, those items aren't going to work on that. and then they're recommending the highest amount of RAM. There's an audio video editing station. It's basically the same thing. Here they're saying you should get a 64-bit processor. How many of y'all can find a 32-bit processor machine for sale out there today? We're not going to find that, okay? So it doesn't care which machine here, you should be a 64-bit. They're telling you here the minimum you should get. High-end video adapter again, if it's audio video editing, just like graphics design, they're going to be similar things on it. Since it is a video audio editing system, you also do want the a good audio adapter and speaker system. And then with actually both of these, this one didn't say anything about it, but you still need it up here, is that they said you need a very large, very fast hard drive. This is going to fill up your hard drive just as well. So you want a large hard drive for there too. And you want a fast one, because if you don't have a fast hard drive, you're going to slow the whole system down just trying to get stuff from the drive. Virtual workstations. That's what you've got down there in most of the other rooms in this building, except for this room and the room next door. Almost every other room in the building is using virtual workstations. It does use virtualization to do everything. So you're sharing the processor and the RAM. The only thing you have in those rooms, you just got a little box that's about that big. It's about that thick is the computer that's sitting in the room in there. But all of the other stuff is running off the servers downstairs. Pretty good too. And they said a 64-bit quad-core processor minimum, 8-core processor or server system for that server that it's all connected back to. I would definitely look at the 8-core processor or bigger, because obviously you can get bigger than that now. And that you need to have plenty of storage on it. Gaming system, pretty much look back up at those top two that we already talked about. That you need a lot of processors, so 64-bit, again, guaranteed. You want to get the fastest, biggest processor you can get. Again, just like we did up there, because it's the same problems you got on the video audio editing system or the CAD/CAM. You want something that's going to handle a lot of that other type of things. Big processor, RAM, video adapter. They're recommending implementing a high-end cooling solution to dissipate this heat. That could be putting lots of fans in there. That could be going to liquid cooling. Although I always have reservations, as I told y'all back in that chapter. I've got reservations on putting a liquid cooling system in a PC. It just looks like an accident waiting to happen. Although that's the way all of your computers used to run if we go back to the 50s and 60s. Okay, that they were running water through them all to cool them all. But if we can possibly do air cooling, I'd rather. The high-end video adapter and then a high-end audio adapter for the gaming system. Home theater system is going to be a little lower end of what we had for the video audio editing system, but you need a good audio adapter with the surround sound system, and that you probably want the TV tuner HDMI output so you can go to the big screen TV. And that standard thick client, make sure we got at least the operating system that works for the other. This goes true for every one of these also. I don't know why they all suddenly say right here worry about the operating system, but they didn't worry about it on all these others. If you don't have the right operating system for your gaming system, you're not going to play the games y'all want to play. So make sure you got the right one. And then they said make sure it's got enough processing power, disk space, and RAM to support it all. Well, I think they would give you a little bit more information after they've told you information on those others. thin client is just running a remote desktop connection, which basically is what we've got in those other rooms. Home or small office server. Fast network adapter, and then you need a large hard drive or going to RAID. On these, you may well not be using RAID in a small office or a home office one, but you may just be using a large hard drive for it, depending on the size of your office. 64-bit again, minimum processor. And as far as RAM, that give yourself a higher amount of space of RAM on that server. And that's all of those. Then they throw you a test. And that's it for 10.1, which is what I thought 10.1 consisted of. So basically it's their suggestions on what you need to buy for, depending on which type of thing. Now, keep in mind, 10 is going to be something you're going to get asked. Because people are going to ask you now that you have taken some computer classes, and you've taken one about computer repair, about what kind of computer should I get. Okay? You're going to have your own personal preferences on that from your experience and experience of people you know. So your recommendation to somebody may be different than my recommendation, and we can both be completely correct. One of the keys is knowing what do they want to use it for. If Brandon just tells me he wants to get a computer, and that's all he tells me, that I may well tell him that if he'll go get a machine with 4 gig 64-bit with just a dual core processor, that will work perfectly fine for him. But what Brandon didn't tell me was that he really wanted it for a gaming system. Was my recommendation any good to Brandon? No. So one of the things is, if you do get asked for those recommendations, find out what they're going to use it for. And you may have to dig a little with them of what the machine's really being used for. Okay? And then use your experience in that area. Some of y'all in here, if not all of you, but I'm definite on some of you, could give a better recommendation to somebody on what to get for a gaming system than I can, because I don't play much games. Okay? And that you have a better idea of what should they get for that. Okay? I have a good idea on other machines for them, but gaming, I don't have a lot of experience on that one. So I can make a recommendation to them, but they may get a better one from you that you may be able to tell them more specific items on it. We're each going to have our own preference on some brands and stuff also. And I tend not to recommend on brands to people. That there's similarity to them all anyway. Certain ones are built to do some things better than others are built to do on it. And then some of them I think really charge you more just for their name. And then that you can get no-name ones that do just as good of a job as long as it meets the specs. So be aware of that one out there, and that some places want to just get a specific brand. If you notice around in the school, the only thing they've got in here is Dell's. That if we're going to get any equipment here at school, it has to be Dell, because they've decided they only want to work on Dells. My experience out there is I work on whatever, and I've worked on a little of everything out there over the years. And I really couldn't tell you a lot of difference between them, other than I do know this Dell had a couple of cabinets that drove me crazy trying to open up. They had a scissor one that every time I worked on that one drove me crazy trying to open it and then trying to get stuff out of it. So it just varies on those. Any questions on that or comments on equipment recommendations? And that's all that you're looking at in Chapter 10. So 10 should be real quick and simple for you. We're going to do one test on 7, 8, and 10. Okay? Now, So that covers all of the lecture stuff we were supposed to do for the semester. Wednesday, we will do lab, and we've got old laptops that we've got a whole set of them, and each one of you is going to take the laptop apart, put the laptop back together.
You can't. Laptop. Laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a grade?
Huh?
Is it a grade or just something we're doing?
There's part of your lab work in here, and that I put, that comes into play on my grading of you. Okay? But it's not a specific or grade, but y'all are supposed to get hands-on experience in here, okay? And I'm not grading y'all every time y'all do hands-on experience. Now, next week you are getting graded on that specifically, because you will have a specific grade on that. Okay? You've got 2 online exams that deal with the same thing of taking them apart and putting them together, because there's one that's called SLO that you got to do, and then there's another one, I think there's a final also. Besides doing the final with the real equipment, you're also doing the final with the simulation. My recommendation to you is do the final simulation one before next week, just as a reminder to you of how to put them back together. Okay? Although, like Mark pointed out earlier, you do have an extra task on those that you got to get the operating system. I know on the slow one you got to put the operating system on it. Is the final one got operating system or not?
I believe so.
I think it does too, but I'm not for sure. Okay? I know the SLO one does. The other one I'm not definite on. But you got to do all of those things, and those all count in your grades. I have transferred over grades through early last week of everything that was done to that point. All right, any other questions in here today? We covered 8 and 10. I know we were quick, but that's the intention of the way they've chosen stuff on it, is that we were supposed to do it quickly, because actually if you saw the schedule they came up with, we were supposed to be through with those last week. Okay? The last 2 or 3 weeks was supposed to be y'all taking machines apart and putting them together. We can do all of that in 1 week. I don't know where it takes more than that, though. We are going to be limited to half of y'all can do on one day and half on the other day. Okay? And that's just because the number of machines we got back there. So we only put 5 or so of y'all back there, and there's somewhere around 10 or a little over that. Right around 10 of you still in here, because we have lost 1 or 2 people over the semester. The other one is, I told you all the things due at Cisco, you know the things due at Test Out. You also have gotten an email, which could have gone to spam, just like the other one that could have gone to spam and did for some people, from a few weeks ago. That was course feedback, a course evaluation for the school. If you have not done that one yet, be looking at doing that one, of doing it next week or now or whatever. They sent it out to you the 1st of March, which to me is way too early to do a course evaluation. Okay? But they send them out at that point, and they've been sending me notices every few days telling me that not everybody has done it yet. Well, the last I checked, I haven't figured out all of y'all's final grades yet. I haven't figured out anybody's final grade in here yet. Okay? Because I don't have all of the stuff done by y'all. But do that course evaluation also for each of your classes. You should have gotten a separate email on each one of them. And it should be in your regular email. And like I say, it was sent to you like in the first week of March. Okay? If it's not in your inbox, look in the spam folder. I'd suggest to you check your spam folder on your school email and your personal email regularly, because stuff does go there that's supposed to be legitimate emails. I look in spam every day as a general rule. At home email, I check it every day, and it's about every 3rd day there's a legitimate email that I need that's in spam. Okay? Likewise here at school, they send it sends out to the faculty as opposed to y'all have a spam folder it throws it in. Faculty, it throws it on a server, holds it there, and then sends out a message every couple of days that tells us, here's all the things we've got in spam for you, which we couldn't get to for there, couldn't even see them. And I have had a message be sent to me that went in spam, and I checked it as soon as it became available, and at that point it was something that had occurred the day before. And I'm going, well, that did me a whole lot of good. That I couldn't be at whatever it was I was supposed to be at because I didn't know about it, because the system spammed it. And I have no idea how they decide what to put in spam, because some things end up there makes absolutely no sense. Everything I get from the Technology Association of Georgia, which I pay $200 a year to belong to, goes to spam. Stuff that comes from Cisco, about half of it that they send to me goes to spam, which is actually when I found my certificate I mentioned earlier. Oh, that's the other thing. Let's go back to Cisco real quick, because I told you I was going to do one other thing in there. If we go back to my NetAcad, will always take you back to that entry page where your courses are listed. If I go in I'm Learning, which is where y'all will be at, there's a Browse Course Catalog over here. That tells you all the different courses Cisco offers. Some of these you can only take from an instructor, that you have to do them through a school somewhere, okay? Or that has to be, the instructor has to set up. A number of them are self-paced. The self-paced ones y'all can go out and sign up for and go through yourself. Does everybody follow on that? So the packet tracer course that the three of y'all had to do for me back at the beginning of the semester could be done either way. I did it as instructor led in that case, because they actually got a grade for it that goes in their grade book on it. The CCNA courses are actually the ones that are the 4 Cisco courses. Mobility Fundamentals is a self-paced that you can learn more about mobility type stuff. Introduction to Cybersecurity is a good basic cybersecurity class, free, that I have done, and it's got a lot of just basic information about cybersecurity. Does everybody follow? So it's not teaching any advanced stuff or anything, it's just an introduction. Cybersecurity Essentials goes deeper and has more stuff in it. I think Introduction to Cybersecurity had only 2 or 3 chapters. Cybersecurity Essentials has got like 7 or 8 chapters, and that's the one I'm currently taking, although I haven't done anything in it since the beginning of the semester because I've been so tied up with other stuff. But I am going to finish that one sooner or later. You can do that one for free. Security, no you can't. That's a well advanced course. It takes tons of time and it has a ton of information. The labs in it run 4 hours. I went to take it a year ago and made it about halfway through it and had to drop the class because I was way behind on it, and big problem was I couldn't find 4 hours in a day to do. Lab was one thing, and then trying to study all of the material it threw you all at one time in the course, but the labs was a big problem for me. The only time I could figure out that I could set aside 4 hours to do a lab, and they literally did take 3 to 4 hours to do, and you had to do it straight through, was like 11 o'clock at night, and guess what that meant? I gave up 4 hours of sleep that night. Sleep is important. IT Essentials you're doing, notice it's instructor led. Linux Unhatched and Linux Essentials are free courses that you can do out there. I have done them both. They teach you the basics of Linux. They are unique. They will have on the left side of the screen the text stuff teaching you about different things, and on the right side it has got, you actually got Linux running and where you can sit there and test the different stuff in real live Linux. So everybody follow that? And it's running off of NetWebs, off of NGG machines. And so you're actually do the stuff in Linux as they teach you to do it. The Essentials and Unhatched are free. This 1 and 2 I have not taken. Those are not free. You have to pay some amount of money, $35 or something, to take each of those courses. And they go deeper, but I haven't done those. The C and C++ I have not done, and they're in a similar situation. There is the entrepreneurship one. I have not done that one. Be Your Own Boss I have not done. And Get Connected I have not done. I have done a few of the mobility stuff, but I didn't do much with that one. Because I've done the Linux and the cybersecurity, the packet tracer when it appeared, and such on it. So there's a bunch of other stuff y'all can take advantage of at Cisco. Not dependent on you right now. You can, 6 months from now, you go, wait a minute, I want to learn a little bit about cybersecurity, about mobility. And Dr. Watt said something about Cisco on that. Just go back out to the Cisco site. You'll still be able to get into it and get to this stuff. Does everybody follow on that? And that was one other reason for putting y'all in doing this IT Essentials one on it, is that I've put you in there and that you've got more stuff available to you. Most of you probably aren't going to ever touch it again after you get out of here. I know that. But some of you may, and it may be, and for 1 or 2 of you, it may well be worth a bunch to have been gotten to some additional stuff. If Linux is something that you've been interested in, but you've gone, I'd like to learn a little about it, but I'm not sure, here's your chance to do it for free. And if you finish the class, it gives you a certificate of completion. All of those work nicely in building a book of a portfolio of like what you'll get from the different places, and when you get your degrees and TCCs from here at school or any certifications, and putting in a little binder to carry in for interviews. I've got a binder in the back seat of my car that's that thick, that's filled with all my different things in it and my transcripts from the colleges. So when I go in for an interview ever for someplace, or somebody asking about my credentials, it's all right there, and I just hand them the notebook when I go in at the interview and pass it around when they go to say something about certifications, and I pass it around to them, and then flip pages and see what I've been trained in and what I'm certified in. And goes over real nicely on that. And is an easy, and here's some easy ways to get yourself a few things to put into a little notebook to carry in. So no, you're not going to have a thick one, but I got 30 years of experience of stuff. So mine should be a whole lot thicker than y'all's at this point. I actually have in there a printout from one of the Angel classes, which is what we used to teach on before Blackboard. And I need to print out one of my Blackboard classes now to be able to show people what goes in a Blackboard class that I do. Just those of you that have taken other Blackboard classes know my classes have got more stuff in them than you do in a lot of other classes. Any questions? If not, I will let y'all go 15 minutes early. I've kept you for over an hour, so I think you got your money's worth. Wednesday will be hands-on. Monday and Wednesday will be hands-on next week, and Wednesday will probably, what I think we'll do is we'll figure out if we can do it, figure out a schedule if y'all don't get into fights about it. If y'all do, I'll just make you all come Monday and Wednesday. Or that we can say on Wednesday that Monday, which half of you can come Monday, and which half of you can come Wednesday and do the machine, and the other half don't have to show up. And y'all can sit at home and work on getting your IT Essential stuff done and finishing getting your test out materials done and stuff during that time period. It's not a case of that I don't have work for you to be doing. And some of you got a lot of work to do. Some of you are in pretty good shape. Well, I say I've only transferred through chapter 6 because that's essentially where we were early last week when I was doing transfer. I got to go back in and do more transferring still. But your grades, if you looked in Blackboard, you noticed your grade became a much more realistic. It is a gamification grade. It's a growing, depending on how much stuff you've got done. It's based on zeros on what you haven't done yet. So as y'all get more stuff done, and I transfer the grades into there, your grade grows. Any questions? If not, have a good afternoon.